We're back with another episode of The Exchange presented by Confederation Group. I'm Sam McPhail, and with me virtually is my co-host Blake Doyle. What's happened this past week, Blake?
Besides isolation, I mean, we're continuing to do this podcast, and we really designed this to meet people face to face, and we'd be face to face. So we've adapted. We're remote, and it's an unusual environment. Business is not as usual. There's lots of anxiety out there. So things are good. Could be better.
Exactly. So we have a pretty good interview on tap. No pun intended. We have the Lone Oak boys, Jared, Spencer, and Dillon. We'll get to that later, but before that, pretty impressive Netflix shows on the past couple weeks. I've watched all of Tiger King, and I think you might have watched a couple episodes too. What's your take on Carol Baskin?
Well, I understand that she's not allowed to cross the bridge. I think the Minister of Transportation has specifically denied her access to the island. So I don't, there's pop culture content, and then there's just sort of mind-numbing waste of time. I think it's falls in the latter.
Can't take your eyes off it type of content. Yeah. No, I was just teasing around. But so actually this week you mentioned, or tomorrow, I guess on Saturday, you'll have another article in The Guardian kind of discussing some more COVID-19 impacts. And do you want to discuss that a little bit?
Well, we could just touch on it. So, I mean, there's a couple of main themes here. Number one, I think the federal and provincial government strategy is incoherent at best. It's not a really great strategy, in my opinion. It's a little bit knee-jerk, and I do commend government for making rapid decisions. But now I think we need to step back and assess, okay, what were the purposes of these programs, and how do they align with a broader strategy? And then what are we going to do? Does this help us get out of the situation? And I hope that's coming. But I think the bigger opportunity for me might be, government have forced businesses to close. Businesses did not shut down. How does government help us, help all business, small business, get out of this jam? And we're in a pretty unique position here in PEI. And one thing we talked with Jeff Cook about, PEI is almost a microcosm. In Myers' credit, Carol Baskin's not getting across the bridge. And they're really watching who does travel across our entry points. So once we get this, the traveling public, who have tested positive so far for COVID, if we can manage the community infections or transmissions, is there an opportunity to contain the virus and then have some semblance of normality return? So I'm thinking of, in a normal circumstance, when you go through a recession, in this case, the unemployment rate will probably be larger than the last depression, the 30s. You can have a war to get yourself out of an economic slump, or you can have a massive infrastructure stimulus. But the people who are displaced, primarily restaurateurs, restaurant workers, hairdressers, I mean, they're not going to build bridges and roads. So we need to find another way to stimulate out of this. And maybe that's the opportunity, a contained microcosm environment where locally we're supporting local businesses to kind of get up and going, buy newspapers, get your hair cut or dyed. And I think there is this is a bit risky, and I don't know what the timing would be, but a kind of unique proposition. So that's one of the focus of the Business Edge this week.
Yeah, I think it's like you said, like everyone's going to have, well, your hair always grows, but I think even kind of people are getting frustrated at this point, 2 weeks in, like, oh, I want to go get my haircut. But like, it's just, people need to realize that no, we need to stay home. We need to keep waiting this out. But like you said, there's going to be have to some sort of kind of island economy that will kind of pop up, and it'll be all supporting local. And I think we are continuing to see that even with restaurants with like home deliveries, free delivery. My friend, Colton at Golden Custom Clothing is doing fundraiser web stores for different companies who want to raise some money during the kind of the tough times, I guess, when they can't be open. So like you said, like the service industry, like hairdressers, even musicians, restaurants that are kind of seeing slower times. So there is kind of unique spin-offs occurring during economic spin-offs during the kind of COVID-19 outbreak, but obviously it's not going to be enough to pay the bills and keep all the lights open. But I think it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah. So how do we, I guess, take best, not an advantage, but best capitalize on this situation to keep the economy churning as best we can? I had a couple of birthdays here actually yesterday. Two of my daughters had a birthday. So, we were able to support local purchases from, we've got a cake at one of the grocery stores that we were able to, pick up curbside. One of the local stores, you're able to order online and have something available. And then we ordered from a couple of different restaurants because they're all economy, but it's not vibrant. And there's still a lot of displacement. And more concerning, some of these programs really don't react fast enough to support the imposition of the COVID impact. But there are success stories like the people we'll be talking about shortly.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you're probably having cake for breakfast this morning then. But it shows that even the companies like grocery stores, for example, they were already trending towards stuff like curbside pickup. So like order online, come get your groceries outside, someone will deliver them for you. So I think it's just kind of a forced pilot that says, okay, this is what the new norm is going forward. And whether that'll be a good thing or not, but I think it still proves that this is going to happen regardless of this pandemic, but the pandemic pushes it a little faster than it would have been normally.
Yeah, I forget the name of the company that actually does the grocery shopping, and they'll deliver it right to your house. It's kind of a, it's, if not global, it's certainly North America wide entity, and they're trying to support their staff by giving them, better pay and some health related access masks and things. So I think you're seeing a transformation in the economy. And one of the things we talked about too is this creative destruction. So you're seeing a whole bunch of barriers come in the healthcare sector where the bureaucracy of administrating services is gone. And even within the businesses that are thriving, a lot of the barriers are gone through destruction. You're communicating like we are through video conference. We had a conference call this morning with their staff, trying to keep projects moving. And I think for the most part, we're quite successful at doing that. So you adapt, but do you need a physical rental space? And how's that going to look coming out of this? Do people even want to cohabitate in a similar environment?
Yeah,
A lot of
maybe
issues.
maybe your coworkers smell bad and you just don't want to be around them anymore. But like you said, a lot of online focused or cloud focused companies, they're just realizing that, okay, maybe this need isn't as much, or maybe we can have a smaller space and kind of a shared space. Instead of renting 1,000 square feet, we can rent 500 square feet and cut our costs that way moving forward. It'll be interesting to see what actually takes place. I guess for some businesses, they hope that doesn't happen, but you never know what will happen.
We'll adapt,
We will
and there'll be
adapt.
displacement. Some companies won't survive this, and I think government should do everything they can to maintain as much, operations as they can, because this is a unique situation that has nothing to do with the businesses and self-imposed restrictions, and people are complying with that. So let's ensure
Yeah.
we
So
help them get out of that and do what they do
speaking
best.
of adaptation, that'll lead us into our. Actually, we had some technical difficulties with the interview, but it turned out okay. So we salvaged enough of it. But with Lone Oak, the boys at Lone Oak, and they've adapted quite well since the interview, especially with they're doing free delivery island wide. And they say 24 to 48 hours, but I know you ordered some, Blake, and from other people I've heard from, it took maybe 10 hours or overnight kind of thing. So I think that's impressive, and it's a nice gesture of them to do to kind of keep their business flowing and keep people liquored up, I guess you'd say.
I heard a stat, and I forget what I should have written it down, but it's this is in the U.S., but liquor sales have increased like 60% or something through this pandemic. So I'd be curious to see what the I guess PEI Liquor Commission are not really delivering, but I'd like to know what the increase in revenue has been like in general through this period.
Since they're
And just in
public, they
terms of,
probably won't share that information, but you never know.
well, it'll come out in the estimates, I guess, at some stage, but for this window, what's happening. So we see where we can get reported data that there has been spikes. One thing with the Lone Oak guys, and this might be something for others to consider, but as you know, I enjoy the game of rugby, which I probably can't play that well, but I still try to participate. We did host a video congregation last week, and in that I posted one of the brewers, Spencer, is a rugby player. So we posted a link. People could order online. I did that, did get it very, very quickly, certainly within a day. And, through Zoom, we had a number of people actually from all over the globe had connected to the rugby club just to have a toast. So, there is still an opportunity to support some of these local brewers. They're not getting the volume that they probably need to meet their business goals, especially coming into the summer. Help shop local where you can, support local, invest local, try to maintain some of these jobs.
And since this interview, they actually won the first ever Hop Yard Beer Battle competition that was kind of a couple months long. It was every Thursday. I believe they had competitions like breweries to go head to head. But Lone Oak came out on top, and you were there. You and I were both there actually that night, and pretty impressive to see how many people could fill a hop yard. And a lot of them, like you said, were rugby players that were there supporting Spencer. A lot of Jared and Dillon's friends, and just people who enjoy their beer too. So without further ado, I guess, unless you have any other words of encouragement for Lone Oak, I'll switch it over to their interview, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, not just Lone Oak, but any of the brewers that are still able to deliver. Murphy's have a big operation. That Battle of the Brews was with Copper Bottom, great company out of Montague that were right in there, and everybody's bringing lots.
Bogside was another one.
Supporters. Yeah, so
Moth Lane.
They're all available.
There's a whole bunch of them.
Anyway, back to you, Sam, and hope everybody has a good weekend, and we look forward to kicking this off again next week.
For sure. All right, we'll transfer it over to our interview with Lone Oak Brewing.
Hello, Prince Edward Island. Welcome to this episode of The Exchange with your hosts Blake Doyle and Sam McPhail. They are interviewing us at some point. We are Lone Oak. We got Dillon, Jared, and Spencer. Let's let it rip, boys.
I think we've got the voice of The Exchange. Our job might be done, but
What do you charge per hour?
We're not looking to lose our brewer here.
Can't afford it.
maybe not. The beer is great. We've had a number of them. They're exceptional beer. Yeah, very pleased to be here. We've got a vibrant craft brewery here at PEI, and we're with the Lone Oak guys today, and look forward to you guys joining in to hear what they have to say about entrepreneurship, shopping local, supporting local, and growing the brewery from the ground up.
And more fun facts about Spencer.
There's never an end of the fun facts we could share with you. So we're here today with the great guys from Lone Oak. Really excited about their new brewery launch, their new brew. They've got a number of beers they'll talk about today, I'm sure. And we're here. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves? Tell us what you do and how you got involved with this.
I'm Spencer Gallant, head brewer and co-owner. So I look after all the production side of things while these guys do the front of house and business stuff.
You've got experience in this kind of industry. You've been doing this for a little bit.
Yeah, I worked for PEI Brewing Company for 6 years. Studied hops in my master's of chemistry and did a chemistry degree. So
not just a hat rack here.
Yeah.
Actually, behind it.
Most brewers get into it through home brewing, right? I've actually never home brewed a batch of beer in my life. Just kind of jumped right in.
And humble, but you've won some awards, I think, for some of your.
Definitely wouldn't be isolated just to me, but like the team at PEI Brewing Company, I played a role in some of the beers that have been medaled at the Canadian Brewing Awards.
And a standoff.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
I'm Jared Murphy, and my role here is CEO. And I've always been wanting to be in business, and was always throwing around some ideas and business plans, and one kind of lined up with an idea that Spencer had, and one thing led to another, and now we're here.
So CEO, so what would your day entail as far as what your activities?
Meetings
like?
only. Strictly meetings.
One podcast.
Blowing snow.
A little bit of anything and everything right now. I think we could all say the same thing, that we're just trying to survive right now, and we're all trying to make it work. We're probably trying to do 20 different jobs between 5 people. So right now it could be anything from getting up to shovel, to emails, to making orders, to kind of making sure that you've got your finger in a little bit of everything, and everybody's kind of on the same page, and making sure things are running smoothly.
And it's been more challenging than you expected, because you're doing everything from the bathrooms to the snow to the operations.
Well, I think we knew what we were getting into. We knew it was going to be a challenge, and we were kind of willing to take that on. It was an eye-opener for us in December to open the tap room. I think that was something that surprised us, to see how busy that was. A really good problem to have, but it certainly brought along some challenges, but ones that we're not going to shy away from.
What do you got?
Yeah, I'm Dillon Wight, co-owner and sales officer. Before this, I've been in sales my whole life. I fell in love with the industry when I worked at Gahan House. I was there for, I think, about 7 years on the bar. And I fell in love with the craft beer industry just in general. And I liked the joy it brought to people. So, I was all over something like this.
So is this Lone Oak? Is it hard stuff to sell?
It really isn't. I wasn't too concerned about it, knowing Spencer's ability to make products. So, the first 2 months have been really easy. And I imagine going forward, my job in terms of selling the product won't be very difficult.
So when you guys first started, did you kind of have to go through any hurdles that you might not have expected, or was there any kind of things that might have popped up there like, what in the hell, why is this is a part of business? I didn't know this.
I'm sure there's plenty of them. I know Dillon could probably elaborate on one that he dealt with in terms of permits.
Yeah, so I was handling kind of the licensing and the permits for getting the tap room and the microbrewery up and running. And there were some different hoops that we had to jump through that we just weren't really anticipating, but that is how it goes, especially with getting our appropriate license for the tap room. We had to go through a couple different hoops because Gateway Village actually is not part of Borden Carleton, the municipality. It's part of the province. So there was a few other, wheels we had to grease to be able to get what we needed to get to open on time, and that was fun. But we had lots of help from friends and lenders and mentors.
The community's been pretty supportive.
Yeah, it's been incredible.
That's the other side of it. Is everybody just needs to make sure that they're doing within their criteria of what they need to do. Everybody's supportive. There's not really anybody looking to throw hurdles at you. It's just once you realize that, say, the property's not zoned appropriately or something like that, then you've just got to take the necessary steps to get to where you need to be.
So I'm a big advocate for less regulations and less red tape, but there are regulations certainly setting up a business like this. One thing that kind of intrigues me is this logo. I don't know if you can see it or not very well. It certainly is behind us. It's a pretty powerful image, and wouldn't mind knowing a little bit about what that represents and how you came to let that embody your brewery.
Yeah, for sure. So Spencer definitely needs to take the credit on the original idea. Spencer has a strong interest in barrel aging products, and you'd only use oak barrels for that. Is that correct?
Yeah, for the most part. Oak is a quality wood, and it's kind of tailored towards the beverage industry, so that's typically what you see in wine and spirits.
The logo was we wanted things to be simple, and we wanted it to align with our brand, which was quality and local. So fundamentally, we built two pillars, which again was quality and local. The oak tree is a quality wood, and the oak tree can also be found on the Prince Edward Island flag.
Right. And what about the local? So obviously this symbol is pretty prominent as far as the center of your logo. It's a local, it's an island. Does that resonate with how you manage your business?
That's kind of looking at our products and even our tap room. We wanted to support local as much as we can, right? So anything from all the ingredients that we use in our beer to the tables that we're having a beer at right now, it's all from Prince Edward Island. Craft beer and PEI being a relatively young industry, it's awesome to say that we have two island malt houses here. We get Island Malt House and Shoreline Malting, which we get about 95% of all our grain from. We have a new hop farm set up coming up here pretty soon, Josh Mank at Island Hop Co. So I'm striving to use as many local ingredients as we can in our products, because we look at the people surrounding us, our customers. We want people to support us. We're a local business. So in turn, we want to support as many local businesses as we can as well, right? So
that's in the production of the brewery, the beers. What else, any other local kind of connection that you've got as an organization?
Yeah, Hopyard has been an amazing kind of partner with us, or organization, where they've been really supportive in buying our product, and just craft beer on PEI and Atlantic Canada as a whole, where they look to buy a lot of their kegs and stuff, and they put on this new Battle of the Breweries is what they call. So we went up against Evermore a couple weeks ago, and it was a good showing, and we've got Bogside this week. Should be a good time. It's great for the industry to get people in and drinking local craft beer.
And you're distributing across PEI right now. Your beers are in multiple locations.
Yeah, we're in 10 liquor stores right now from O'Leary to Montague, and I think we're in about 24, 25 restaurants at this moment, and hopefully we'll grow quickly from there.
Excellent. And operationally, things are good? You're happy with the way things are kind of progressing?
It is. We're very happy. We're flying off the seat of our pants, and we're in survival mode, but they're all good problems to have. Right now we're figuring it out, and we're just excited to move forward.
Everyone's showing up on time to work. There's no tardiness.
Spencer can be a little we've been committed to this for 2 years now, and it hasn't been just the last month in the making. And you got to put in some early mornings and some late nights to make something like this happen.
Right, and you guys had your grand opening a couple weeks ago, so you're probably pretty late night that night, I would assume.
There's a hootenanny for sure.
A hootenanny, yeah. Drink the bar dry.
Rumor has it they heard us in Port Elgin.
That's good.
That's
good room
to have. So I guess from my perspective, I'm a young entrepreneurial type person, type A, I guess, and I want to know. So did you guys? At what point were you willing to throw the risk away and just say, let's do this, let's make it happen?
I think for us it was when the financing process was completed. So you've got an idea, a dream, you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to do your own thing, be self-employed. You start with the pen to paper, and we start putting a business plan together. We were meeting in classrooms that we could find open at UPEI at the start of this. And then once we got through our business plan, we started reaching out to possible lenders. And after going through that process and being able to complete the financing to where we needed it to be to know that we could make a real go at this, that's the point where we said, okay, this is a reality now, and we've got to be able to commit to 100%.
Right. And are you seeing, like, I guess as young entrepreneurs, you're seeing that kind of community support that you might not see, like maybe in Charlottetown versus out here?
Yeah, it's really been great, to be honest with you. We weren't quite sure what to expect being so rural, and population of Borden isn't crazy, but the support that we've been getting, even from people in Summerside, Charlottetown, and down east, up west, along with Borden, has been incredible.
Right on.
So I'm just curious now, you each had jobs. Spencer, your job was a scrum half for the Mudmen, but you've all given up your careers to focus on your own entrepreneurial endeavor. There's a lot of risk with that. Have you tried any businesses in the past? Is your first attempt at business, and it's a big trade-off. Are you still comfortable with the fact that you've given away a salary and guaranteed income, or some playing time, in your case, Spencer, to then try your own business? How do you feel about that?
Definitely a huge risk, but I think it was tough to. You got to be confident in your product, right, and in the services that we provide. So, Jared and Dillon are both great guys and quite confident in what we've accomplished so far. So, it made it a little easier to make that leap of faith, right, to give up a job and kind of go on a limb and start your own business. But so far, things have been going great, and continue to strive for what we can do.
And we're young, right? We realize how young we are, especially throughout this process. I mean, we definitely didn't build this brewery on our own. We had a ton of support from family and friends, people in the industry. It was a community that was able to help us put this together. We certainly can't take full credit for it. But let's say, for instance, things don't go the way we hope they do. We know we've got a lot of time to bounce back.
Right.
Just doing the renos in here, I think Jared could always pick up a job scene filling.
That's a skill.
Janitorial services.
There's not many people can do that. So you do have
Staining wood.
Yeah.
Something that I do if I have to, but I don't know if I'd want to make a career out of it.
It's tough work. I know Sam and I, we're excited to be here. We're delighted that we had the opportunity to chat. In fact, we both grew facial hair because we thought
I'm gonna match you guys.
Any advice you guys have for other entrepreneurs who might be looking to take this same risk you guys have, giving away the security of a salary to try your own thing? Would you recommend it?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say if there's something that you really want to do, and you can make it work, you might as well give it a shot. We only get one of these, so take a stab at it and see what happens. But I've been really happy with the way things have gone so far. I have no regrets up to now.
Yeah, and everything that you read in a business book about how much work it is to take something on your own. There's a reason why everyone says the same thing. It takes a ton of work, but it certainly doesn't feel like work when you're going through the process and you're doing it for yourself and you've got a dream and you see a goal at the end of the day.
You guys are tracking, okay? You're comfortable with the progress you're making. You're executing your plan that you had envisioned, and you're...
Yeah, back to that local support that we've been getting across the island. We've exceeded our expectations based on our projections of our business plan to date. And that has been very rewarding. And again, that goes back to the local support, not just from the region, but across the island in general.
And you guys have a pretty, I know you two played soccer together, you and Dillon and Jared, but you also have a pretty big reach because you brought on Spencer, and you kind of bring all three of your kind of networks together, and you're able to pull in a wide range of people, whether they're from Western PEI, Eastern PEI, or Central.
Yeah, we're all island native. We've lived here our whole lives, and we've taken on 2 employees that are also island natives. Dan Hendricken from the eastern part of Prince Edward Island, again, has his own family and network of friends from a part of the island that we might not necessarily have a whole lot of network in.
Right on.
I think this has been a pretty successful visit. We're delighted to have joined you guys. And
you got a beer out of it too?
Afternoon beer.
We got to finish that beer, but it's no problem to do that. It's a great product, and I encourage anybody driving by. If you leave PEI, stop on the way off the island, and when you're coming back, make it your first stop when you return. So thank you guys from the Lone Oak, and appreciate your time today.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Can we stay for the afternoon now?
We gotta go to Summerside.
Well, do we really have to though?
Summerside.
We really appreciate you doing this
Yeah,
with us
thanks for
too,
coming
like,
out.
especially
We'll
when
get a
we're
picture
trying to
too.
build a brand and get our name out there.
I think it's a
It's
pretty
fun for
exciting.
us. Like I literally came to a brewery for the afternoon.
Yeah, I think it,
Welcome to our life.
Yeah.
quilting next.
Yeah.
Your next venture.
There you have it, our interview with Lone Oak Brewing Co., Jared, Spencer, and Dillon, 3 great guys doing great things in rural PEI in Borden. So it's pretty impressive to see how they've adapted even despite the coronavirus outbreak. So they've done free delivery island-wide, like many breweries have done. They've also started doing Facebook Live trivia with Spencer and Dan. They've done various Facebook Live concerts, and I think that'll continue. But it's a very sincere way of adapting and keep people engaged with your brand. And they've done an exceptional job of that. And I'm assuming they will continue to do that and likely do even newer things as time goes on. So again, thank you to Lone Oak Brewing Co. for having us up that afternoon, probably about a month ago now. And sorry again for some technical difficulties. We weren't exactly pro podcasters back then, so some of the things were cut short and not saved, but that's okay, and we will likely definitely have them on again. Try the beer, deliver it, it's free. The beer isn't free, that is, but the delivery's free, so you can get a few cans while you're bored at home. That wraps up today's episode. We'll be back Monday with some more interesting individuals. We have some people who work both in government, private sector, entrepreneurs lined up for next week. Be sure to check out Blake's Business Edge column in The Guardian tomorrow morning. And until then, stay safe, wash your hands, and continue social distancing. Thanks, guys.